people, Deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on. Thank you very much for that, Ian. People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, we know we're not playing until the 31st of March. That doesn't mean there's not rumours and news and things connecting with our football club. So let's go through all of these things together, people. If you give me a second, we'll share the screen. As usual, I hope you're all doing well and safe. Big up my regular viewers. If you're new here, make sure you're subscribing. Everybody make sure they're smashing the like button and get the creative juices flowing and let me know your thoughts on everything together we discuss. Now, first up is Joshua Kimmich. He's been linked with a move away from Bayern Munich. I'm not a Bayern Munich fan. I have a Bayern Munich shirt, though. Definitely not a Bayern Munich fan in April because we know we've got them. But, you know, a lot of their players have been linked with moves away. Several Bayern Munich players. I don't know if that's owing to, you know, their relationships with Thomas Tuchel, who will be departing. I don't know if it's contractual situations. Who knows? Now, Joshua Kimmich is a player that I would like. I think he's experienced. I think he's intelligent. I think he is very versatile, could play fullback as well as central midfield. Obviously, he's going to be on big wages, and it's crazy. Like, you know, he's 29 years of age, same age as me. So it shows how quickly time flies, people. For what it's worth, I would love Joshua Kimmich at the carpet. Allegedly, you know, and he's been linked with several clubs, Joshua Kimmich is looking increasingly likely to depart Bayern Munich, according to German media. The Bayern Munich star has been the subject of intense speculation for months. The 29-year-old reportedly has a strained relationship with head coach Thomas Tuchel and is out of contract in 2025. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. He doesn't see eye to eye with his fellow German and current manager, soon to be departing Thomas Tuchel. Now, Tuchel's going to be departing. What if the new man comes in and he has a great relationship, or he just wants to see? The second part of that first statement, 2025 contract. I don't know if he'll sign one. I don't know, being at Bayern Munich, primarily playing in his country, you know, being a German national. I don't know if he's thinking, you know what, between now and after the Euros, I'd like to go to Spain, to England, etc. He's been linked with several clubs, and you'd imagine there isn't too many top European clubs that wouldn't be interested in acquiring his services. Tuchel's exit at the end of the season will be music to Joshua Kimmich's ears, but the truth is that there is no progress whatsoever in getting the versatile player who can feature in midfield and at right back to commit his future to the club. Maybe he doesn't agree with the terms being set. According to a fresh report from Sky Germany, Bayern don't necessarily want to sell Kimmich in the summer, but they'll certainly be open to very large bids, and crucially, the player has a similar stance. So it's going to take a lot of money. What is the asking price? I guess we don't know. The German doesn't necessarily want to leave Bayern, but will consider a departure if a suitable offer arrives. Additionally, the report outlines that Kimmich has a clear idea on which clubs he would like to join if his days at Bayern indeed turn out to be numbered. Kimmich wants 5 clubs. The report asserts that the 29-year-old has no intention of moving to Chelsea, Manchester United, or Paris Saint-Germain. Maybe not convinced with the projects. Instead, Kimmich would consider joining Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Barcelona, and Real Madrid. Now, anyone would want to play under Thomas Tuchel, so I think they've got the advantage. Barcelona is Barcelona, if you understand football, regardless of where they're at. Similar to Man United, really. They've got football heritage, and very few teams above Barcelona and Man United can claim to have football heritage more than Real Madrid, especially what you see Madrid doing, people. According to Florian Plattenberg, Kimmich has no shortage of suitors, and he claims that some of the clubs the player would join have already made contact with him personally. In brackets, he does not have an agent to inquire about a summer transfer. I mean, if you've got Kimmich's contact, football's a small world. You'd imagine someone's got his phone number. You'd imagine Pep, for instance, has it. You'd imagine that, you know, he'd be able to contact him directly. But just because a man doesn't have an agent doesn't mean he doesn't have an advisor or people that might not be agents, but they do agent things. Barcelona, Liverpool, and Man City hold a long-standing interest in the German international. And to be fair, Manchester City could do with him. I know they've signed 2 midfielders in Kovacic and Nunes, but they've hardly hit the ground running and filled the void that Gundogan's left. The recent report claimed that the Reds are prepared to do whatever it takes to land Kimmich, while Pep is still fond of his jack-of-all-trades former Bayern protege. Barcelona, meanwhile, are still searching for a long-term Busquets successor. Now, in terms of projects, Manchester City is amazing. Obviously, Liverpool are in a bit of a transitional period, but I've been up there to a degree with City. I say to a degree because City have won the war. Manchester City is City. Obviously, bit shocked, really, that he's not interested in Paris Saint-Germain, who look like they're going to start a new project under Luis Enrique. I know it's not really hitting off. Chelsea, I believe, can get their act together sooner rather than later, but they're a mess, so I understand it. But I don't understand the reluctance to not move there, especially with the London aspect. And Man United in a similar situation where, you know, it looks like they're in disarray and it's a transitional period. And yes, they beat Liverpool at the weekend, but Ten Hag's really not doing the business. But at the same time, it's Man United. So a bit shocked. I don't necessarily believe he would turn down Chelsea United or PSG, or at least hear what they have to say. But I'm happy that my football club at least is considered with the clubs that he'd be open to joining, really. So I don't know where Joshua Kimmich is concerned. But primarily, I do think the bulk of this is because of the 12 months on his deal. And quite a few players are linked with moves away from Bayern Munich. Where Arsenal are concerned, we've been linked with Deluded kind of for similar reasons, less so much the contract, but similar sort of language use. So we'll have to watch what happens there, people. Don't forget to let me know. Now, Alexander Isak is a player that a lot of Arsenal fans wouldn't mind. I have concerns about his injury record and the price tag that Newcastle might want. Newcastle United fans look away because Gomares has been linked with a move to City in the summer, and Isak is being linked with moves away. Alexander Isak is said to be concerned about the current situation at Newcastle. The Swedish sharpshooter has been on form this term, scoring 12 goals in 20 Premier League outings so far this season. However, because of frequent injuries to Newcastle players, including the 24-year-old, the Magpies only languish in 10th, and head coach Eddie Howe is under pressure. I mean, you'd reckon Newcastle kind of underperformed last season. I mean, naturally, you're going to be under pressure, but a bit harsh, I believe. Unsurprisingly, the players aren't happy about this current state of affairs. Chief among them, star midfielder Bruno Gomares. According to HITC, the Brazilian is frustrated with what's going on at Teesside as interest in his services grow. Didn't he just sign a new deal? Alexander Isak is also mentioned as a player who is growing increasingly frustrated and concerned, and is an exit on the card. Isak is still under contract until 2028, so he's going to cost a lot of money, got another 4 years. But speculation surrounding his future refuses to go away. According to the above-mentioned report, PSG scouted the Swede in Newcastle's limp FA Cup display against Manchester City at the weekend. Apparently, Arsenal and Chelsea both have a long-standing interest in the former Borussia Dortmund wonder kid. He could link up with Martin Odegaard again. You saw what they did at Sociedad. And while they'll have different priority options for the summer, it's not inconceivable that they could look at the Newcastle man again should they fail to land their main target. So he's someone they like and admire and potentially an option, but he's nowhere near first choice. So it just seems like tabloid talk, people. Isak would be well advised to snub any London club interest that comes his way. According to data experts at Sky Sports, the 24-year-old should snub any transfer interest period. They believe Newcastle are far his best suited club. I'm not too sure about that, but fair enough, really and truly. So yeah, all the strikers are being linked with everyone essentially. Apparently, you know, Man United and Liverpool are both attempting to, you know, stop Arsenal's plans of signing the next Martin Odegaard. I'm not too sure how Brahim Diaz is that, but maybe on the basis of a talented wonder kid that's not getting much football at Real Madrid. He's getting more than Odegaard got. Maybe that's where it's concerned. The Gunners had already been linked with a move for Diaz in the summer, with similarities drawn in the case of the Moroccan international to the deal that took Odegaard to the Emirates in 2021. If Mikel Arteta is to get his man for Arsenal, though, he'll need to beat both Man United and Liverpool to the 24-year-old. HITC reports that two Premier League giants are also following the former Manchester City youngster who's been on the books of Real Madrid since January 2019. Again, he's been on loan for a couple of years in Italy with Milan, but he's back there now and doing his thing. Indeed, there's quite the clamour for Diaz over the summer, with Chelsea and Tottenham Tottenham also following the player. Exactly how intense the interest from both the Reds and the Old Trafford side is in the attacking midfielder is not clear, with the pair just said to have shown an interest. Everybody's interested in everyone. This said he's valued at 29.5 million euros. I think Madrid would want a little more than that. It's been reported previously that Arsenal had already made an offer worth 70 million euros to Real Madrid for the player, whose contract expires in 2027. This figure seems unlikely, given Diaz has only made 18 starts for Real Madrid this season and will see his game time fall when Mbappe arrives at the club on a free transfer in the summer, which is true. And they might say, you know what, yes, we're getting Mbappe for free, but the signing on fee, the wages is going to be a lot. You'd imagine Real Madrid aren't broke, but they've brought in a lot of players, and I imagine they've got other plans as well. So maybe if there's some players that could leave the club. Rumours of Daniel Marlin potentially joining Arsenal will not go away, people. According to Sky Sports in Deutschland, they've reported Arsenal are looking in good shape to capture the informed winger, with Man United's interest in the player not serious at this point. According to Mr. Plattenberg, Man United are not pushing to sign Marlin, but the Gunners could face rival interest from from Liverpool and other unnamed Premier League clubs. Apparently, he's got 13 goals and 5 assists this season. He's under contract until 2026. So the next 12 months to 18 months are very crucial in what Dortmund do with Marlon. Apparently, he wants to leave his current side and can do so for 40 to 50 million euros. I mean, he has said he wants to return to Arsenal previously in an interview. He can play up front as well as on both flanks. Not sure if he'll count as homegrown, but you know, he's been here. So I wouldn't be against it, but I don't really feel it moves the needle really. He admires us, and apparently in February he said, because I played in England as a youth player, it remains a dream to one day play in the Premier League. Arsenal is my favorite club. Would I go back? Yes, I played there as a youth player and really wanted to break through there. Every now and then there are points in your football career where you have to make the decision. I trained with Arsenal's first team as a 17, 18-year-old, and so I did make progress in that respect, but I thought I just have to play professional football. I saw a lot of former teammates who were already doing that, and I was still playing youth football, so I just knew it was the right thing to do. That's how I felt at the time. That's when I finally went to PSV, and it's fair to say it's worked out for him ever since then. Wolves have been linked with Eddie Nketiah. Lately, Eddie Nketiah, despite not long ago signing a new deal, is seen as someone that could leave the club and obviously bring money in. It counts on FFP as 100% profit, and between Kai Havertz, Trossard, Jesus, you'd imagine another attacker. He will slip down the pecking order. The 24-year-old can look back at pride with himself. He's, you know, the only striker currently that's got a hat-trick for this club in the first team. He's wearing the number 14. He's won the FA Cup. And there's been times he's been the first choice striker. So coming through the academy and doing that, great. But unless there's significant development from now to the end of the season, we're moving in a direction that Eddie Nketiah can't come on the journey with us because, unfortunately, he's just not levels. But I think people need to not write him off. He's 24. He's hitting prime ages. I'm not saying he's going to be the biggest and baddest striker ever, but he could surprise people. He's been surprising people. Very few people probably expected him to be a professional footballer, let alone be at Arsenal, let alone be at Arsenal this long. The 24-year-old has fallen down Mikel Arteta's pecking order this season and has already been informed by the Gunners that he's free to find a new club. Arsenal are planning to sign a new striker in the summer as Brentford's Ivan Toney continues to be heavily linked among others. So that will see Nketiah's minutes diminish even more. Nketiah hasn't started a Premier League game since November, with Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus now both preferred by Arteta. I mean, Jesus is holding bench. As we know, he's been at the club for a while. We're looking at raising funds in which Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, Aaron Ramsdale, Eddie Nketiah, and a few others are going to be on the hit list, people. And he's got interest. He's been linked with Fenerbahce previously. I don't think there's been an Eddie Nketiah transfer rumor that hasn't linked him with Crystal Palace, but he's got Crystal Palace, Fulham, and Brentford interest allegedly, as well as Wolves, and he's a priority target there. Apparently, Nketiah's agents are working hard to try and find the best possible option for him in the summer, with the prospect of staying at Arsenal a possibility as his contract does not expire until the summer of 2027. I mean, you'd imagine he'd be moved on, but you couldn't rule out a loan spell. You know, if he went on for loan and had a great season like a Balogun or, you know, what's his name? Solanke's doing at Bournemouth. Whatever we're going to get now, we might get more. So we got a bit of room to play with. He has also been linked with West Ham as well. So he's a player, whatever you think about him, has been capped by England as well, has a decent amount of interest, and I guess we'll have to see in the months to come. Again, this is a case of getting 2 and 2 and adding 5, because you'd imagine with Nketiah linked with Wolves, Pedro Neto linked with Arsenal, even though he's injured at the moment, and that's probably the concerns. You can see how this could have a domino effect. Apparently, he's one of the most in-demand players in the Premier League, and he's expected to leave Wolves this summer, according to Romano, and he'll join a very important club. Has been linked with Manchester United, Liverpool, Manchester City very aggressively, as well as obviously Arsenal, people. So we'll have to see. I don't really buy that. Essentially, I think Arsenal wouldn't mind him, but injuries really, and for the money that Wolves allegedly want, because he is contracted until 2027, it just doesn't make sense for our football club. That's Daniel Marlon stuff. We don't need to go over that. We've gone over Kimmich already. What is this really and truly? What's this? This seems like a think piece. I mean, who wouldn't want Arsenal to sign Mohamed Kudus? But it's fair to say we won't be signing him from West Ham. What have we got here? We've already gone over Reece Nelson. Apparently, Serge Gnabry would have transfer interest if buy and sell. Again, there's a lot of rumours. You got Kimmich, you got Alphonso Davies, you have had Sane, and now you've got Gnabry. And I'm sure some Arsenal fans wouldn't mind him returning to the Emirates. But for me, I think that one's dead in the water. Although technically, was he not a former player? Teammate, better yet, of Mikel Arteta. Apparently, Wolves' financial situation might not be as problematic as suggested, and they might not even need to sell Neto to Spurs or Arsenal. I can't imagine Neto's keen to join Spurs, but you never know, people. Darmashev said, I think there will be a lot of suitors for Neto, but he has a contract until 2027. I think the rhetoric has changed at Wolves because when Gary O'Neill joined, they had to sell players. They had to raise enough funds to comply with profit and sustainability rules. That has changed because when O'Neill is asked questions about transfers, he admits that clubs will be interested in players like Neto because of his quality, but he's almost saying they don't need to sell players because this time, because as far as he knows, Wolves are in a good financial position. They're not in that position they were in last summer when they almost had to sell players because of course, money will talk. So we'll have to see, really and truly. I mean, that's irrelevant to us. Again, Spurs and Arsenal have been linked with Poland star Sebastian Szymazlewski. I can't pronounce his name, but I'm sure Kirill can give a glowing report of his fellow countrymen. Spurs allegedly were the first side to be linked with him, people. Man United and Arsenal have all allegedly sent scouts, as well as Napoli and AC Milan. Being scouted doesn't mean people are necessarily moving for such, but there you have it. This article, which I don't know how credible, it said Elise prefers a switch to Arsenal over rivals Man United, people, which don't really make sense to me. So we'll keep it moving. On the topic of existing players, Gabriel Magalhães, who's obviously would be training, ironically, at London Coley or whatever we call it now, because Brazil's national team is there. You see Edu in the clips. Make sure you bring Vinicius and Douglas Luiz. Apparently, he's been cut from the squad due to injury. Now, it is March, and you are seeing a lot of players, and I'm quite happy that Arsenal are doing it. You're seeing Tomiyasu, Partey, Gabriel pull out, Benjamin White and Saka. Can you lot pull sickies? It'd be lovely. We all know City do it. Sir Alex Ferguson, notoriously did it. So, yeah, man, I don't think Gabriel's injury is serious, but it is what it is. Edu's just getting a favour from his boys. Romano has said Cedric Suarez will leave Arsenal as a free agent in the summer. Decision made. The Portuguese right back remains fully committed to the club until June as a top professional. Then he'll leave Arsenal. Many clubs in Europe considering Cedric as a top option for the summer on a free transfer. I can't imagine that's breaking news, but thought we'll get it in regardless, people. What's going on here? Essentially. Well, this is about Daniel Marlon. You see, I'll try and get everything done for you lot, people. This article said Arsenal are keen to activate free release clauses. We'd all love Martin Zubimendi. I'm a big fan of Benjamin Sesko. And in a day and age where there isn't too many quality strikers and they're all coming with crazy price tags, 42 million couldn't be the worst. Nico Williams, a winger that a lot of you would like, who plays for Athletic Bilbao, has a 43 million pound release clause. So if we want to go down the release clause route, that I wouldn't necessarily be against it. Charles Watts has said Partey won't be linking up with Garner over the international break. He asked to be excused from the squad so he can work on regaining full fitness after his recent return from injury. He'll apparently remain with Arsenal, and the Ghanaian FA have communicated that as well, people, as well as Fabrizio Romano. Tomiyasu is the same. He won't be going with Japan, so hopefully our injured boys, get together sooner rather than later and help us in what's left of our season in the Champs and the Prem. Again, apparently, Gabriel's withdrawal from the Brazil squad is not due to serious injury. It's more precaution. Problem described as genuine, but not too bad. Apparently, he's been carrying a foot issue, but no confirmation on the specific issue linked to his withdrawal, says Sammy Mokbel of the Daily Mail. Colleagues at ESPN Brazil say the Brazilian FA are suggesting that Arsenal defender Gabriel's injury ruling him out of this international break is an inflamed Achilles tendon. So I don't know, people, but yeah, we all know Mbappe's not joining Arsenal. I won't waste your time with that. And apparently, Timber is set to return to training and be eligible for matches. I think we're a long way off seeing him kick a ball for Arsenal at first team level, but every day he gets closer. The Dutch defender is set to make his return after the international break and has been long, carefully managed road to get here. So, yeah, there you have it. Now, I've skimmed through this, and again, it's a lot of stuff about, what he's been doing as he's been injured and things like that. I don't want to bore you lot with such people. And it just basically said the plan is going to plan in terms of his rehab, people. And it's allegedly the next few weeks will be crucial as the Dutch international ramps up the latter stages of his recovery. It's not yet clear if he'll be involved against Man City. I don't imagine he would after the international break, but if he continues at his current rate of progress, he will be involved in the business end of the season. Having defied the odds with how quickly he settled into North London, Timber is hoping that he can turn heads once again as Arsenal seek Premier League and Champions League glory. And definitely for the two clashes against Bayern Munich, if we are lucky enough to go through, where you've got Manchester City and potentially Real Madrid. Big up Zinchenko and Kirill. But I know I would like to have Timber at left back there. And shout out to Tomiyasu, but he's another one you can't bet on his fitness. Finally, folks, I'm a bit upset because Arsenal were playing on April the 13th, which is my birthday. Store the date as well as commenting your thoughts and smashing the like button. That game against Unai Emery's Aston Villa, because of their Europa Conference League commitments, has been rearranged. The game will now take place on Sunday, April the 14th, with a 4:30 p.m. kickoff, having previously been scheduled for 24 hours before. So, yeah, people, let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed. Would you take Daniel Marlon? Would you take Kimmich? What do you think of potentially letting Eddie Nketiah go? What do you think of Pedro Neto? Where are you at with Tomiyasu and Timber's injuries, as well as Partey's, and anything else we've discussed? Smash the like button, comment, like, subscribe. God bless you all. Peace.